Leadership is not about control. It's about service. Secondly, true leadership is not about power. It's about empowerment. Most followers would say about their leader, "That's a powerful person." Well, you just exposed the fact that they are not a true leader. A true leader will have followers who say the opposite. "That person empowered me. That person made me great." That's a true leader. Number three, leadership is not about manipulation, it's about inspiration. Inspiring people is the highest form of true leadership. True leaders don't manipulate, they inspire people.
Chapter 11, the need for service rather than leadership. In this untoward situation, the Negro finds himself at the close of the third generation from emancipation. He has been educated in the sense that persons directed a certain way are more easily controlled, or as Ovid remarked, "In time the bull is brought to bear the yoke." The Negro in this state continues as a child. He is restricted in his sphere to small things, and with these he becomes satisfied. His ambition does not rise any higher than to plunge into the competition with his fellows for these trifles. At the time, those who have given the race such false ideas are busy with the helper with the higher spheres from which Negroes, by their miseducation and racial guidance, have been disbarred. Examples of this failure of the miseducated Negro to have high ideas may be cited. The author has known numerous cases of Negro lawyers, physicians, and businessmen who, while attending local Sunday schools, churches, and lodges, have fallen out about trifles like a resolution or the chairmanship of a committee, which so embittered them as to make themselves enemies for life, and stumbling blocks preventing any such thing as organization or community cooperation. It is a common only occurrence to see a Negro well situated as a master or teacher aspiring to a political appointment which temporarily pays little more than what he is receiving and offers no distinction except that of being earmarked as a Jim Crow job set aside for some Negro who has served well the purposes of the bosses as a ward healer in a campaign. Negroes who have begun promising business enterprises, sometimes abandoning them temporarily for the same sort of empty honor. In this way, they have been known to hamper their businesses by incurring the displeasure of ambitious politicians who might otherwise patronize them. Negroes of this point of view have developed in that part of the country where it is thought that the most distinguished persons in the community are those who did not exploit the local offices or those who are further honored with positions in the state and nation. While this may apply in the case of their oppressors, the few positions allotted the Negroes are magnified beyond all reasonable bounds. This comes as a natural result, however, for the education of the Negro requires it. The ambitious, miseducated Negro in the struggle for the little things allotted by others prevents any achievement of the people in matters more constructive. Potentially, the colored people are strong, although they are actually weak. This much about do nothing renders impossible cooperation, the most essential thing in the development of a people. The ambitious of the class do more to keep the race in a state of turmoil than to prevent it from serious community effort than all the other elements combined. The one has a job the other wants, or the one is a leader of a successful faction and the other is struggling to supplant him. Everything in the community then must yield ground to this contest, to this crazy contest that they got going on, right? In one city of a few thousand Negroes, there is no chance for community cooperation because of the antagonism of the Methodist and Baptist preachers in charge of the two largest churches. The one is determined to dictate the appointment of the teaching corps and the social welfare workers. The other is persistently struggle to undo everything accomplished by his opponent. The one is up today and the other is ascendingly tomorrow. Several efforts have been made to start business enterprises there, but none has succeeded because one faction tears down what the other builds up. Happy Monday, happy Monday, happy Monday. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back. Welcome back to On the Shoulders of Giants. I am Joseph Ward, continuing my reading of Dr. Carter G. Woodson's amazing book, The Miseducation of the Negro. And this is chapter 11, The Need for Service Rather Than Leadership. And I think this might be one of my favorite chapters of this book, because I am a big proponent of service leadership. That's the leadership that I learned. That's how I learned to go out and affect my community, by service, by doing, figuring out what the people need and helping the people get what they need, serving the people, being on the ground, hands-on, helping people empower themselves. That's why I started with the video by Miles Monroe. And this is going to be a short video, but an impactful video. Short but impactful, right? Started with the video with Miles Monroe. And he's talking about leadership being a service job, an empowerment job. It's not about flash. It's not about position. It's not about prestige. It's not about any of those things. It's about helping the people who you are serving become better. They will follow you because you are pouring into them rather than you making them feel good or because you seem powerful. I like how he put that. If the leader is the most powerful person, then that leader ain't really doing what they're supposed to do. That's more of like that dictatorship stuff, or in our case for the Black community, too many people want to be remembered. Too many people want to be the next. My joke has always been calling that type of leader Malcolm Next, because they want to be the next. They want to be the next in line. They want to be remembered. They want to leave a legacy that everybody can know about them and their deeds and their services to the community, because they are so important that they need to be remembered. But how is the community better because of you? How many people have you empowered? How many others have you turned to leaders? How many others have you put in positions to improve themselves? Because that's what we're talking about, real leadership. Not just taking an appointment, especially taking an appointment by your oppressor, being put in this position, and then carrying out the deeds of the oppressor. You're not a leader. You're a puppet. You're a dummy. You're a sellout. Not a leader. The Black community don't have a lot of leaders. All right. The ones who are our true leaders, unfortunately, are vastly overlooked. Unfortunately, they are vastly overlooked. They're vastly overlooked for the people who come with the prestige, come with the power, come with the positions, come with all the letters behind their names. They're part of the organizations, all these things here. But the community ain't better because these people. The community is worse. That's what we're reading about. We're reading about people who being put in these positions but don't know what the hell they doing. And the community getting worse. He talks about the different factions going against each other. So this Negro over here wants to be Negro number one, and this Negro over here want to be Negro number one. So they're going to compete for the position rather than joining together to serve. Compete for prestige, compete for power, or excuse me, compete for the perception of power. Because white supremacy will never give us any type of power. None. No type of power, right? But we fight for crumbs. The so-called leaders fight for crumbs, and the people continue to follow them. They're on TV, they're a leader. They're a politician, they're a leader. They're a rapper, they're a leader. They're an athlete, they're a leader. You wrote a book and you got a bestseller, you a leader. And people will sign up to follow you, whether you know what you're doing or not. And how do we know? We got so much proof in the community. Think about how many videos I've done on the Black community being scammed. It ain't after a while, it ain't scamming if you keep signing up to get got. But that's because we don't really know what real leadership is, because we've been programmed to follow the glitz and the glamour. We've been programmed to follow the appointed leaders. Go check the true history of a lot of these movements. Go check the history of a lot of people who were replaced by the appointed leaders and why they were replaced by the appointed leaders. I'm just saying, real leadership is about serving the people, making the people better, lifting people up, empowering people, pouring into them, figuring out what they need and help them meet their needs, help them gain a skill, help them solve a problem. True leadership. And then in that process, helping them develop themselves to become leaders themselves. It's enough shine for everybody. It's enough people for everybody to help. Ego, though, you know, they want, a lot of people want ego and have their place right next to the white man. So chapter 11, like I said, the need for service rather than leadership. So of course, you know, in the chapter, we're going to give you the most important bullet points. We're going to give you all of our key points, give you my opening summary, my opening ideas about the chapter, all of my bullet points. I mean, my key points. So my first key point is the miseducation creates an obsession with status. Number 2 is the influence of white leadership models. Number 3 is the Black community is overloaded with leaders, but understaffed with workers. The Black community is overloaded with leaders, but understaffed with workers. True service is the foundation of real leadership. Number 5, the community suffers when leaders are detached. Number 6, leadership as a career path is a symptom of miseducation. Leadership as a career path is a symptom of miseducation. And Woodson's vision, a community of workers, not bosses. Also, a collective work over hero worship. Then, you know, I give you my closing summary. So that's what we're getting into today. Are you ready? Because we finna drop some truth bombs up in here. So let me go ahead and start with my opening dialogue, my opening narrative or opening summary about the chapter. So as you know, as you've been hearing from the reading, right? In this chapter, Woodson launches one of his most powerful critiques of the Black community. The community does not need more leaders. It needs more servants. It needs more builders, helpers, and everyday workers dedicated to solving real problems, right? He argues that the obsession with titles, prestige, and public recognition is one of the major products of miseducation and a major barrier of Black progress, because everybody want to be remembered. Everybody want to be the next. Everybody's so much more important than the next person that we should concentrate on them and what they're doing rather than actual real progress, because they measure progress by how many people worship them. So yeah, and let me give you the first key point as well. Like I say, this is a short chapter, so we might as well go ahead and start getting it in. So the first key point is miseducation creates an obsession with status. Miseducation creates an obsession with specifically white status. Gotta be liked by the white man. Woodson argues that miseducation produces people who chase titles. We see that. Ego-driven, ambitious people. A desire for fame. A craving for public recognition. And a misunderstanding of what leadership is, right? The educated Negro wants to be seen, not to serve. Instead of asking, What does my community need? They ask, what position can I hold? And how can people love me and know me? This mindset is deadly to progress. And we can see that. That's why we have no real progress, because the so-called leaders ain't leading us nowhere. And the so-called followers are crazy enough to keep following them. So we're jumping back into the reading. Once again, I don't know what page this is because I'm reading from a PDF, but starting from the paragraph that says, in another city, the cleavage is along political lines. So love you all. Oh yeah. Please make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. I forgot to say that in the beginning because I just dove right in, because I love this type of information. This is one of my best chapters, or one of my favorite chapters rather. But hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share, hit that hype button. You can join the channel as a member. You can hit that super like button to help support the channel, and other ways to support the channel is in the description. And we're about to do this, and I'm gonna keep dropping these videos, man. I see y'all like them, so I'm gonna keep dropping them and keep dropping them. Let's do this. In another city, the cleavage is along political lines. Preachers are there, but a lawyer and a dentist plunging into politics have dispossessed the clergy of the stage. The leader of one faction is so bitterly opposed to the other that he even warns strangers against going to the home of this adversary. To present a sane proposition to the community through one of these leaders means local warfare rather than an effort to work together for the common good, because ego can't get out the way. Consequently, although there are thousands of Negroes living together in one quarter, they have no business enterprises of worth. The selfish struggle for personal aggrandizement, which has not yet brought either faction more than an appointment on the police force or a clerkship in one of the city offices, thus blocks the social and economic progress of thousands of unoffending people because they can't get themselves out the way. In another state, the ambition of the highly educated Negro is restricted to becoming principals of the high schools. The neglected state schools have not developed sufficiently to become attractive. The warring area then is in the cities, and one of them where several Negroes own considerable wealth, which, if pooled and properly used, would produce all but wonderful results. The petty strife has been most disastrous. Little thought is given to social uplift, and economic effort is crushed by factional wrangling. Before the author had been in one of the towns, an hour a stalwart of one faction sounded him of becoming a candidate for the position held by the principal of the high school. A few minutes thereafter, another approached him for advice as to how to get him out. The high cost of this childishness to the community can be estimated only by taking into consideration the fact that this strife is all but endless. If it were a matter that developed now and then only to be forgotten by people directing their attention thereafter to more important things, it would not do much harm. But this confusion continues for years. Sometimes it grips a community for a whole generation. That's crazy. That's crazy. For a whole generation, that's crazy. In spite of the meager rewards, however, the idea of leadership looms high in the Negro mind. It always develops thus among oppressed people. The oppressor must have some dealing with the despised group, and rather than have contact with the individual, he approaches the masses through his own spokesman. The term itself connotes a backward condition. In it strides upward. A race shuffles off its leaders because they originate outside of the group. They constitute a load that sinks the oppressed in a mirror of trials and tribulations. Because we ain't serious about nothing, and we following the shiny stuff, the bright lights, the shiny stuff. The second key point is the influence of white leadership models. Wilson explains that Black people are taught to imitate white leadership styles. And these white leadership styles are often hierarchical, right? That is fighting, causes for a lot of competition rather than cooperation. They are authoritarian, elitist, and prestige oriented. I'm better than you. You're better than me. No, I'm better than you. Right? Them type of Negroes. This creates a class of black leaders who feel superior to the masses. I am better than the rest of them. I am snobby and better. And they're not, right? They talk about people, but not to them. And they talk at them and not to them. They seek personal benefit from leadership roles. I always got to be in the pictures. I'm always on the scene, but I never do nothing. Avoid the hard work of organizing and serving. That's why you never see them doing anything, but they're always in the pictures. These imported leadership models do not match the needs of the black community because they match the needs of those that they serve, which is just a boost of prestige, right? Third key point. The black community is overloaded with leaders, but understaffed with workers. Some of y'all feelings might be getting hurt, but we don't care about feelings over here. We're telling the truth. So hit that like button. The black community is overloaded with leaders, but understaffed with workers. One of Woodson's most powerful observations is that every effort collapses when everyone wants to lead and no one wants to work. He said it, and I'm echoing it. Too many chiefs, not enough Indians. Because everybody got the answer, but ain't nobody has done a damn thing to fix the problems, but everybody got the answers. Right? He shows that schools suffer from a lack of student support. Churches struggle because people want titles, not labor. Community organizations fall apart because no one wants to do the unglamorous jobs. Everybody want to be damn remembered. Somebody got to be behind the curtain pushing the buttons. Business ventures fail due to ego clashes among aspiring leaders. Everybody want to be the boss and everybody want that money. Chasing that bag. Black people chase, it's funny, right? Black people chase leadership roles because those are the roles associated with prestige in a white dominated society. Because black folk want to be white. Because black people want to be white. And if most of y'all could turn white today, you would. Back into the reading. Leadership is usually superimposed for the purpose of directing the course of the ostracized group along same lines. This was accomplished during the days of slavery by restricting the assembly of Negroes to certain times and places and compelling them to meet in the presence of a stipulated number of the wisest and decreest men in the community. These supervisors of the conduct of Negroes would prevent them from learning the truth, which might make them unruly or ambitious to become free. So they place specific people in leadership positions to keep black people at a certain mindset and a docile state so we won't become unruly Negroes like that Malcolm X. After the Negroes become free, the same end was reached by employing a Negro or some white man to spy upon and report behind closed doors on a plan to enslave the Negroes is mine. That's that meritorious manumission, right? In case the actual employment as a spy seemed too bold, the person to be used as such an instrument took up some sort of enterprise which the oppressor of the race warmly supported to give him the desired influence in the community. This racial racketeer might be a politician, a minister, a teacher, a director of a community center, or head of a social uplift agency. As long as he did certain things and expressed a popular opinion on questions, he lacked nothing. And those who followed him found their way apparently better paid as the years went by. His leadership then was recognized, and the ultimate undoing of the Negroes in the community was assured. Because look at that Benz he drives. Look at that big. That's you with that big body Benz, huh? That's you that can't keep your congregation because you keep selling out your friends, huh? You work for the white man, huh? You like to dance, huh? You got them gloves in your hand and you sell out the man, huh? Right? Such leadership too has continued into our day, and it goes from bad to worse. The very service which this radical which this racial today hardens him to the extent that he loses his soul. He becomes equal to any task the oppressor may impose upon him, and at the same time, he becomes artful enough to press his chest convincingly before the thoughtless multitude. The white man is against us while he's greasing my pocket. What is right is sacrificed because everything that is right is not expedient, and what is expedient soon becomes unnecessary. Recently, a citizen observing how we have been thus betrayed suggested that there be called a national meeting to take steps for a program of development of the race from within under a new leadership. Such a movement can be made to mean nothing, and then it can degenerate into an assembly of abuse and vituperation, followed by the usual whereas, therefore, be it resolved effort, which has never meant anything in the awakening and the development of an oppressed people. That word beat me up a little bit, I ain't gonna lie. The Negroes, however, will not advance far if they continue to waste their energy abusing those who misdirect and exploit them. The exploiters of the race are not so much at fault as the race itself, right? If Negroes persist in permitting themselves to be handled in this faction, they will always find someone at hand to impose upon them. The matter is one which resists largely with the Negroes themselves. The race will free itself from exploiters just as soon as it decides to do so. No one else can accomplish this task for the race. It must plan to do it for itself. So, at this point, selling out is a choice. It's always been, but it's even more of a choice now. Fourth key point is true service is the foundation of real leadership. Are y'all still listening? Are y'all still listening to me since I'm talking about all this stuff you got to do to be a leader, like all this service you got to do to be a leader? Are you still listening? I hope so. Hope y'all ain't cut the video off because you hear me over here talking about you actually got to serve people and do real stuff as a leader. Because, I hope so. Because if y'all left, I'm going to have
emotional damage.
You know what I'm saying? But let's get it though. True service is the foundation of real leadership. Woodson argues that leadership should arise naturally from service. Oh, shoot. You mean 1 + 1 is 2. So true leadership arises out of the service that you provide to the people that you want to empower. A true leader earns respect through work, demonstrates commitment through action, solves community problems, understands the daily struggles of the masses, is motivated by improvement, not applause. Service is leadership. There is no separation. Service is leadership. There's no separation. But I like that last point and that key point. And the bullet point within the key point is true leadership is motivated by improvement, not applause. If that don't hit, then you ain't it. True leadership is motivated by improvement, not applause. That make me feel good that I'm on the right path, because I always say I just want to see my community better. That's why I do it. I just want to see my community better. You heard me? So this is the last little bit of the chapter. I told you the chapter wasn't long, so this is the last bit of the chapter. So let's finish this up. Checking up on what they do, Negroes often find themselves giving money and moral support to various persons and institutions which influence the course of the race in the wrong way. Scam likely, right? They do not often ask themselves whether the support thus given will rebound in the long run to the good of the people with whom they are identified. They do not inquire whether the assistance thus given offers temporarily relief, but eventually results in irreparable loss. So many Negroes often do themselves harm when they actually believe that they are doing good. Under their present teachers, they cannot easily learn to do any better, for such training as we undergo does not open our eyes sufficiently for us to see far ahead of us? Shoot, are our eyes even open? That's my question. If the Negro could abandon the idea of leadership and instead stimulate a larger number of the race to take up definite tasks and sacrifice their time and energy in doing these things efficiently, the race might accomplish something. But that's too much like work, Dr. Woods. The race needs workers, not leaders. Such workers will solve the problems which race leaders talk about and raise money to enable them to talk more and more about. When you hear a man talking, then always inquire as to what he is doing or what he has done for humanity. Oratory or resolutions do not avail much. If they did, the Negro race would be in a paradise of earth because we talk and we talk and we talk. It may be well to repeat here the saying that the old men talk of what they have done. Young men talk of what they are doing. The fool talk what they expect to do. The Negro race has rather a large share of the last mentioned class, which he trying to be nice. The Negro race has a large share of damn fools. I said it. I said for him. The Negro race has a large share of damn fools. The last paragraph in the chapter. If we can finally succeed in translating the idea of leadership into that of service, we may soon find it possible to lift the Negro to a high level. Under leadership, we have come into the ghetto. By service within the ranks, we may work our way out of it. Under leadership, we have been constrained to do the biddings of others. By service, we may work out a program in the light of our own circumstances. Under leadership, we have become poverty-stricken. By service, we may teach the masses how to earn a living honestly. Under leadership, we have been made to despise our own possibilities and to develop into parasites. By service, by service, right? We may prove sufficient into the task of self-development and contribute our part to modern Black culture. Damn, I love that chapter. I love that chapter. I hope it made some of y'all mad. I hope it made you mad enough to get your butt out there and serve your people. Fifth key point. The community suffers when leaders are detached. Carter G. Woodson highlights how many leaders are disconnected from their own people, right? They do not live among the people. They do not listen to the people. They assume they already know what's best for the people. I just put out a video about that not too long ago. They chase prestige while the community struggles. Because of this, their leadership is ineffective, shallow, and often harmful. And everybody follows them and talks about their lack of leadership, but the stupid people still follow them. The sixth key point. Leadership as a career path is a symptom to miseducation. So what does he mean by this? So he's very critical of the professional leader, right? The person whose entire identity is built around being in charge, giving speeches. I have a dream. Everybody want to have their version of I have a dream, right? They want to sit on all type of committees and boards, and they want to direct others. That's the classic Negro bougie blueprint right there, right? He says this person does not uplift the race because they lack practical skills. They can't do nothing real. They avoid direct service because they can't do nothing real. They are motivated by ego because they can't do nothing real. And they contribute little of real value because they can't do nothing real, right? And a community does not need more people trying to become leaders. Some of y'all might want to sit down for this because you're finna have your feelings hurt once again. I'm hurting feelings all throughout this video, and I don't give a damn because we need to be better. A community does not need more people trying to become leaders. It needs more people becoming useful. Wilson's vision, right? A community of workers, not bosses. The solution to miseducation is service-driven education. Service-driven education. Damn, I butchered those words. Service-driven education. Wilson calls for educators who teach to uplift, not to impress. Trained workers in trade, agriculture, and real-world skills, professionals who stay connected to their communities. Youth taught to value service over status. institutions built by people who understand community needs. Progress comes from the top, not from the ground up. Collective work over hero worship, right? It's my last key point. Wilson warns against the great man theory. The one hero will save the race. Oh man, that's what they call it, the great man theory. All right, we got a name for it now, the great man theory. We're waiting on somebody to come save us. In my opinion, that's one of the reasons why black folk keep lining up behind the charismatic person that don't do nothing, because they expect everybody to save us but ourselves. That charismatic person, instead of saving us, they say that every person has a role. Excuse me, my bad. So Woodson warns against the great man theory. The one hero will save the race. Instead, Woodson says that every person has a role, right? Get off your ass and do your job. Find out your job and get your ass out there and do it. Every community must work together. No one individual can uplift an entire people. Groups are dedicated workers building lasting institutions. Black communities must replace hero worship with teamwork. Look at that word again, team. I know a lot of black folk hate that word team, because that means they got to do stuff. So the most important bullet points in this, right? Miseducation makes black people chase titles instead of service, leadership positions instead of community uplift. True leadership comes from serving the community, not ruling over it. The educated Negro is often more concerned with status, ego, and imitation of white leadership models rather than helping the masses. Let me read that again, right? The educated Negro is often more concerned with status, ego, and imitation of white leadership models than with helping the masses. Black uplift requires workers, organizers, teachers, farmers, and builders, not self-appointed leaders or even leaders who are appointed by the white man. Communities fail when individuals want to be in charge but don't want to do the unglamorous work. When don't nobody want to do the unglamorous work, nobody want to get their hands dirty, but everybody want to be the leader. The most valuable people are those who quietly, consistently serve the needs of the community. The most valuable people are those who quietly and consistently serve the community. Black people must reject the idea that progress comes from one great man and instead embrace collective effort. So yes, you got to get off your ass and do something. So the summary, right? The need for service rather than leadership. Dr. Carter G. Woodson argues that miseducation causes black people to value titles, prestige, and authority more than genuine service to the community. He explains that the black race suffers not from a lack of leaders, but from a lack of committed workers, people willing to teach, build, organize, and solve everyday problems. Woodson criticizes the educated Negro for pursuing status instead of uplifting the masses and for imitating white models of leadership that do not match the needs of the black community. True leadership, Woodson insists, is born from service. The future of the race depends not on one great leader, but a collective effort of many who dedicate themselves to meaningful work and getting off their ass and uplifting the race. And that's it. That's my notes. That's the chapter. Chapter 11. One of my favorite chapters. The need for service rather than leadership. I hope this video left an imprint on you to get out and get active in your community and really serve the people in your community and work to help to make your community better, stronger, and more empowered and more united. We need it. Service over leadership. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. Make sure y'all please hit that like button, comment, subscribe, share. If you don't have your copy, the link is in the description to get your copy. The Amazon affiliate link, go ahead and get your copy. And other links to support On the Shoulders of Giants is in the description. So make sure you click that and continue checking us out. Continue coming back, watching these videos. Every day at 1 p.m. a video is going to drop. Every day at 1 p.m. Going live Tuesday at 9 p.m., Saturday at 3:30 p.m. and any other time I feel like going live. But I'll let you know first. Other than that, every day at 1 p.m. I'm dropping it. Love you all. Service over leadership. Service over leadership. See y'all later.